is up, spooky people? TGIF. Am I right? Well, tomorrow's Friday. This is actually Thursday. I know I'm behind on recording. The antibiotics that I was on really messed me up, which is why I was sick most of this week. It hasn't been good. I've literally just been coming home and passing out on the couch because I'm so nauseous. So today I feel much better. So I was at work today. Yes, I've gone to work all week. It's not fun. But I don't even remember what I was looking at. And I saw a fact that made me be like, what? So then that made me start thinking about maybe I should do a grotesque Friday or a weird fact Friday or, something that's outrageous, but still kind of goes along with stuff that we talk about. So I'm going to keep thinking about that. And you guys can let me know what you think. But I'm going to share this fact with you because if I have to know it, then you have to know it. Okay. And let me tell you, I am extremely disturbed. So, did you know that back in the 15th century, as early as the 11th century, the Brits ate mummies? This is true. You can look it up because I saw this and I was like, this can't be right. But it's true. But it's also funny because people were eating mummies out of a misunderstanding and mistranslation. So they were eating them because they thought they had healing qualities. So they mistranslated the word mumia. And historian Carl Dannenfeld wrote that this was a series of mistranslations and misunderstandings. So mumia has healing qualities, and it's a substance found in the Persian mountainside. And it has on the mountain, it's where it seeps black rock asphalt. Mum, Persian local word for wax, and it was used for a variety of medical purposes. And the Arabic world considered it expensive, precious, and effective. So there's your fun, weird, kind of gross fact for the day. Inadvertent cannibalism with ancient mummies. This is why they're rare. It's not because they're lost and can't find. It's because the Britons ate them. Britain, I love you. I do. I really do. But your country's past has some disturbing stuff in it, which is why I love it so much. But this was top notch, best fact I've ever seen on Britain when it comes to the weird, crazy stuff. You guys are amazing. And, we all make mistakes. I love you. Anyway, today we are talking about Bigfoot. And I went back and forth on this, but I ultimately decided I'm getting this out of the way. Bigfoot's a cryptid, so it's only fair that there is an episode on Bigfoot, but I feel like Bigfoot is very, I want to say overplayed, and I'm probably not using the correct word, but for lack of a better term in my brain, overplayed. So I'm going to tell you about Bigfoot, and then I'm going to tell you my opinion on Bigfoot. Okay. The stories of Bigfoot go back beyond recorded history, I guess. A 7-foot hairy man stalking the woods, occasionally scaring campers and hikers. He is primarily in North America, specifically the Northwest region, but he is known throughout many cultures. He is attributed to the mountainous western region of North America, and other names he is called is Sasquatch from Salish, Sasquatch. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm sorry. And the Algonquin of the north central region, they refer to him as a Wetiko or Wendigo. We're going to come back to that because if I explain this, then we're going to get sidetracked. So give me a second. All right. So other nations tell stories of a large creature that is also like a man, but has special powers and characteristics. Okay, so Bigfoot versus Wendigo. So I'm going to start with this, okay? Because I am no expert per se on cryptids and the folklore and everything that goes around it. And that's kind of why I started this podcast, because I want to learn more. So if I say anything wrong, I am not doing it to offend anybody. This is my understanding of the information that I currently have. Okay. So if I am wrong about anything I am about to say, please don't come at me and nicely educate me, because I want to learn, I want to know, and I want to be educated. But I don't need yelled at for getting something wrong. And nobody's done that so far, and I am so glad. I hear other podcasts talk about people getting very mean about misinformation by accident and kind of like, you're so stupid. Why didn't you know that? Or I'm offended. Why did you say that? Well, we weren't meaning to do that. Okay. So rant over, educate me if I say anything wrong. Okay. So Bigfoot versus Wendigo. Now, I have done a lot of research on the Wendigo. Okay. The Wendigo is probably my favorite cryptid, even though I'm low key terrified of it. That's probably why I like it so much. But I have done a lot of research. I've read the native stories. I've read things that the natives have said about the Wendigo. It was either in Canada or northern Michigan, but the Until Dawn creators talked to the natives about the Wendigo because they wanted to get it accurate. So, Bigfoot and Wendigo, I see as two different things. The Wendigo is created because someone cannibalized another person. Bigfoot is Bigfoot. So, this is coming from the Washington National Guard. And I'm thinking the Washington National Guard has some of their facts wrong because they're two different things. A Wendigo is not a 7-foot tall, hairy man. It's actually way more terrifying than that. And I don't want to give too much away because I am going to do an episode on the Wendigo or Wendigo, English language versus native. I've heard it both ways. That really bothered me when I read that. That really bothered me. So I just wanted to set the record straight. Bigfoot and Wendigo are two different things. Now, they could be the same thing in some cultures. That's totally fine. I didn't find anything like that during my research on either of these cryptids. But I mean, anything's possible. That's totally cool. That's totally fine. Please share with me because I'm curious because if there is a mixture of Bigfoot and the Wendigo, what kind of monster was created to make that? Not trying to, sound disrespectful or anything, but if you put the Wendigo and Bigfoot together, that's honestly the most terrifying thing on the entire planet. Just wanted to throw that out there. So if that is a thing, someone please tell me and educate me. But I did not find any information combining the Wendigo and Bigfoot into one cryptid. All right, moving on. So the Ojibwe, I'm sorry, I'm probably messing that up too. I'm terrible at names. Of the northern plains believe the Rougarou appears in times of danger, and other nations have agreed that he is a warning telling man to change his ways. Okay. I'll let you know when I'm off of the Washington National Guard. But as far as I know, the Rougarou is different too. And I understand the similarity between them. Okay. Kind of. I don't really understand the Bigfoot similarity. Wendigo and Rougarou are both warnings of some kind. And that's all I'm going to say because of future episodes. But they are warnings of some kind. I've never heard of Bigfoot being a warning. I haven't read anything in my research saying that Bigfoot is a warning. So that's just me. Maybe Washington has a whole 3 cryptid in one thing. I have no idea. Again, please educate me. Anyway, North American settlers had reported sightings in the late 1800s into the 1900s, occasionally finding footprints and sporadic encounters, even with grainy photos and videos. According to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, there are undisputed facts of his existence. I'm not going to give my opinion yet. The facts are as follows, according to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. More than 400 years of people have reported seeing a large hair-covered man-like animal in the wilderness in areas of North America. Sightings of these animals continue today. Real or not, these claims are made by people of what they consider unimpeachable character. You could probably already tell where my opinion is going to go with this because I'm very speculative. For over 70 years, people have been finding, photographing, and casting sets of very large human tracks, most in remote areas discovered by chance, and continue to be found today. And Native American and First Nation peoples' cultural histories have stories and beliefs about non-human peoples of the wild. The descriptions are strikingly close to the hairy man-like creatures today. Now, if they're referring to the Wendigo and the Rougarou, okay, you know what? I actually don't even know what a Rougarou looks like, so I'm going to look up said Rougarou, because I'm very interested in the story of Rougarou, but I haven't researched it yet. And I've always been like, I kind of know what that is because of Supernatural, but also I have no idea what this thing is or what it looks like. So the Rougarou, where are the images? There we go. Okay. The Rougarou, I can see being mistaken for a werewolf, Bigfoot, and depending on which depiction you want to look at, a Wendigo. But more werewolf than Bigfoot. More werewolf, actually. Way more werewolf like. Just to give you kind of like some sort of visual, because you're not seeing the picture and I'm looking it up and looking at it right now. All right. So Rougarou to me looks more like werewolf, just for a visualization. But again, I'm not on the Bigfoot. Native American tradition in the Northwest talks about a giant hair-covered ogre named Sonaquoia? Sonaquoia? I am so sorry. He steals children and he steals food, which is likely the origin of Bigfoot Sasquatch. So in 1958, Ray Wallace his story was popularized in that year, and he was a road contractor in Northern California. He made plaster casts of giant footprints that he found near his work site and a few handprints. Some were obviously from bears, but his family later found carved wooden feet that matched the casts. So whether or not those casts were actually like Bigfoot is up for debate. In 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin went to search for Bigfoot in the woods. Wallace found Bigfoot tracks, and in Bluff Creek, they saw a creature walking through a clearing and filmed a short sequence from an 80-foot distance. The movie, quote unquote, is grainy and difficult to interpret, but it does show a creature unlike any other that lives in the region. Many believe it is someone in a gorilla suit, while others believe it is irrefutable proof. The FBI in 76 and 77 asked the lab to analyze hair found in what was claimed to belong to Bigfoot. They wanted to finally prove the phenomena true or false. In February of 77, it was determined the hair was from a member of the deer. It was deer hair. It was not Bigfoot hair. Some more quote unquote proof that Bigfoot exists was more analysis of footprints, some that exhibit dermal ridges as those found in the 80s by a U.S. Forest Service employee in the Blue Mountains of the Northeast Oregon region. Oregon's history of Bigfoot starts in 1904 when settlers saw a quote-unquote wild man in the Sixes River area in the Coast Range. Miners and hunters claimed similar accounts in later decades. In 1924, St. Helens, there were miners that claimed that they were attacked by giant apes, and that was wildly reported in the Oregon press. Local Native Americans used this event to discuss publicly their own knowledge of Sayatko, Hirsute. I can't pronounce this, but they took this as a time to educate people. In 1958, workers east and west of the Cascade Mountains were claiming that they saw immense tracks along logging roads, enhancing public recognition of the Bigfoot name. And then witnesses have also observed so-called humanoids crossing roads at night, striding furtively through the forest and mountain terrain. By the 1970s, Peter Byrne, who was a former Yeti hunter, he established the Bigfoot Information Center at the Dalles, and I might be pronouncing that wrong too, I'm sorry. And that gained national attention for his documentation of eyewitness testimony and footprints adduced as evidence for a new species primate. So more recently, in popular culture, he has evolved into sports mascots, children's entertainment, and cryptozoological reality shows. He has been promoted in state legislation and celebrations. Politicians in both Oregon and Washington have proposed bills to protect the creatures from hunters, and hairy humanoids have served as official state mascots. And, there's been movies and all of that fun stuff. And I know recently in the last 20 years, there was, I think, another picture that came out that people claim were Bigfoot, and it wasn't Bigfoot. It was a man in one of those hunting moss looking suits. It was not Bigfoot. I was watching These Woods Are Haunted, which kind of gave me the idea to just do this. And according to accounts of people camping in the woods, Bigfoot is not very nice. He's kind of violent and scary. He's supposedly chased people, I think destroyed campsites. There's just a lot going on with the Bigfoot stories. If you want to hear these stories, then watch These Woods Are Haunted. It has some other stuff in there, but it was mainly Bigfoot instead of like actual ghosts. But I suggest going to go see it. A lot of people have claimed that they have encountered a Bigfoot and he was very, very scary and they thought they were going to die. So there's that. So in Ohio, we have Hocking Hills, and Hocking Hills is Ohio's big Bigfoot area. And my tattoo artist, because we talk about this stuff when he's doing my tattoos, and he was talking about how he had seen Bigfoot. I don't remember exactly what his story was, but he remembers seeing something like massive and like inhuman looking, and it was dark, just charging at him and his friends, I believe, and they just ran. So he believes it to be Bigfoot. I mean, I'm not discrediting him, but that was an account that I got firsthand from someone who believes they encountered Bigfoot. And I love my tattoo artist, I really do. But now you're going to get my opinion, and you're probably not going to want my opinion because my opinion is probably not the opinion that you want. For the amount of weird, creepy things that are out in the world, Bigfoot is one of the ones where I'm just like, maybe because it is overplayed, I'm just like kind of exhausted my Bigfoot information, whatever. And I'm just kind of like, there's been so many people that have been trying to prove Bigfoot and have not, and there's like this like cult following around it. And I mean, if you're one of those people, like, you do you, I totally respect that. But I don't think, okay, it's not that I don't think Bigfoot doesn't exist because again, anything is possible. But I also lean more towards Bigfoot doesn't exist because of the amount of things that have been proven to be wrong, if that makes sense. At least with like the Wendigo and the Pugwudgies and, all of those kind of weirder cryptids, you don't see people trying to do videos and pictures and hunting them down. But Bigfoot is one of those things. And I don't know, because of psychology, is this some sort of equivalent to like mass hysteria? And because a couple of people in the 1800s saw something and it just kind of blew up from there and it actually doesn't exist, or does Bigfoot actually exist? So I am a skeptic on Bigfoot. There is, again, too much stuff that people have claimed and then it's been disproven. And for the other stuff, there is nothing that disproves or proves anything. Skinwalkers are terrifying, and I've seen too much that proves those things. And my family's from the Appalachian Mountains, so you're in the house, you lock the door, and you don't leave until morning. If you hear something in the woods, no, you did not. You did not hear that. You leave. You get in the car, you get in the house, you leave. Those things are fucking terrifying. Of all the things that I believe could be out there, those things terrify me the most. Like to a point where I used to love camping, and on this road trip, we're probably going to camp. I am trying to not psych myself out or make this experience not that great when it comes to the days that we camp out, but the woods now absolutely terrify me at night because of skinwalkers. So we'll talk about them too at some point. I will probably do an episode that will come out while we're on the road trip for that. So there's my take. I hope my opinion made sense because it kind of confused me a little bit when I was trying to explain it. But overall, the equivalent Bigfoot to me is the equivalent of a skeptic who doesn't believe in ghosts, but is not completely closed off from the possibility of it being real. My husband is a skeptic on everything. He doesn't believe in ghosts or cryptids or any of that. I think this world is way too big and there's a lot of things out there that we haven't explored. There's got to be stuff out there. Anyway, he doesn't believe in any of that stuff. But he's not saying it doesn't completely exist. He just wants the solid proof. He's very mathematical and scientific about things. And I am the more whimsical, let's go ghost hunting person. So my goal in the marriage is to prove these things to him. If not cryptids, then we'll just stick with the ghosts. But that's my goal. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. If you go in the woods, if you hear anything, no, you did not, walk away, walk or run, or act like you didn't hear it and walk away. Whatever you do, you did not hear it, okay? If you go ghost hunting, don't forget the salt. And as always, stay spooky.
Chasing Legends.